from regular filters, you can also use advanced filters in Excel. These allow you to add multiple filter criteria, and can also easily be modified because you specify your filters within a certain filter range. Within this filter range, you have to specify your columns on which you want to filter, and also the values for which you want to filter. It is very important that the names of your columns within your filter range correspond to the names of the columns within your list range. So the list range is a range or table of values that you want to filter, and the filter range contains your filter criteria. Let me now demonstrate this in Excel. If I open a new sheet and I have a list range, and I copy paste these values to Excel, and I have a criteria range, and I copy paste my filter values, then I can use these criteria to filter this range. I do this by going to Data, Filter Advanced. I specify my list range, which is this range. I specify my criteria range, which is this range. And I click OK. And as you see now, the values within my list range correspond to my criteria range. If I change the values within my criteria range, for example, if I change value 1 to value 2, and I reapply my filter, I go back to Advanced, click OK, then my list range contains the new filter values. Clear the filter, and as you see, I can easily modify my criteria range to update my list range. Suppose I want to add a customizable advanced filter in the Sales Order tab to filter on order date, store, and item. Then I go to the Sales Order tab, and I create my advanced filter, which I call Filter Criteria. Put this in bold. Then I enter my first criteria, which is order date. I have to make sure that I do not make any typing errors, because otherwise Excel will not recognize my filter criteria. So I type order date. And I enter my second criteria, which is store. And I enter my third criteria, which is item. And I add a nice layout to my filter criteria range. I also add a yellow background because I want the filter criteria to be easily recognizable. And suppose that I now enter my first criteria, order date, to be the 1st of August 2016. I enter my store criteria, which is store A, and I also want store B, so I enter store A, store B, enter my item, which is kitchen table. And suppose I now want to apply this filter criteria to my list range. Then I can go to Data, Advanced Filter. I specify my list range. I specify my criteria range, which is this filter criteria range here. I click OK. Ideally, you could also copy the criteria to a separate sheet, and I can now use my filter criteria to filter my list range.